However, a person's going out from his house will either land him into evil or get him into good. If he goes out to seek for knowledge and do righteous deeds, he will attain good. But if he goes out to commit sins, evil deeds and tribulations, he will earn evil. So through his going out of his house in the morning, he either proceeds towards good or evil. He said, entrusting himself, he either ransoms it or puts it into destruction. Among people is one whom Allah would aid. So he will ransom himself by seeking for forgiveness, repenting and turning to Allah and regretting. And among them is he who will commit sins, evils and tribulations, thereby destroying his self. So in a person's leaving to his workplace in the morning, he is not free from either of two things. He either ransoms himself or destroys himself. Therefore, it is necessary for a Muslim keep this in mind and be cautious in his going out by preserving his hearing, sight and limb so as to be among those who ransom themselves. But if he does not protect these limbs, he will certainly be among those who destroy themselves, and there is no might or power except with Allah. This hadith comprises of good attributes and cautions against evil traits. It is an important methodology for the Muslim to follow in his life and reflect on his salvation. All praise is due to Allah, who has provided for us plenty of opportunity to perform righteous deeds. When a slave commits a sin, Allah provides him ample opportunity for repentance and does not hasten to punish him. He only grants him respite and chance so that the slave will examine himself to see whether he will destroy it or save it with his deeds and conducts. Hadith 24 said the Prophet mentioned from what he narrates from his Lord, the Mighty and Sublime, that he said, O my servants, I have restrained myself from oppression and have made it prohibited amongst you. So do not oppress one another, O my servants. All of you lack guidance except what I guide, so seek guidance of me, and I shall guide you. O my servants, you are all hungry except what I feed, so seek food of me, and I shall feed you. O my servants, you are all naked except what I clothe. Seek clothing of me, and I shall clothe you. O my servants, you err in the night and day, and I forgive all sins, so seek forgiveness of me, and I shall forgive you. O my servants, you all are incapable of bringing harm to me, such that you may harm me, and you are incapable of benefiting me, such that you may provide me benefit. O my servants, were the first of you and the last of you, the men of you and the jinn of you, to be as the heart of the most pious one amongst you, that will not increase anything of my kingdom. O my servants, were the first of you and the last of you, the men of you and the jinn of you, to be as the heart of the worst one amongst you, that will not reduce anything from my kingdom. O my servants, were the first of you and the last of you, the men of you and the jinn of you, to stand on a plain, and you all supplicate to me, and I grant everyone what he has asked, that will not reduce anything from what I have, except what reduces from the sea if a needle is dipped in it. O my servants, it is but your actions, I keep record of them for you, and then I will recompense you with it as is due. So whoever finds good should give thanks and praise to Allah, and whoever finds another other than that, let him blame no one but himself. This is a crucial hadith reported by the Prophet from his Lord, referred to as Hadith Qudsi, in ascription to Al-Quds, meaning pure. This is because there are two types of hadith. The first is Hadith Qudsi. This is part of hadith's speech in its wording and meaning. The second is Hadith Nawawi. This is made up of the speech of the messenger, hence the wording and meaning of Hadith Qudsi is from Allah, but it was reported by the Prophet from his Lord with his wording and meaning. As for Hadith Nabawi, it is from Allah, that is to say, it is revelation from Allah, while its wording is from Allah's messenger. There are crucial issues in this hadith. His saying, "Glorious is he, O my servants," and its repetition in every paragraph of the hadith indicates Allah's kindness and compassion towards his slaves. He is free of any want from them, and in spite of that he invites them and stresses it upon them for their own benefits. The word al-ibad is the plural of abd. White al-ubaydiyah means subservience and humbleness for Allah, glorious and exalted. So the entire mankind, the believers and disbelievers among them, the jinns and human beings, the angels and the entire creation, are all servants of Allah in the general sense. All of them are slaves to Allah and subservient to Him. He disposes of their affairs. They are Allah's creatures, and no one is excluded from this. Allah the Exalted said, "There is none in the heavens and the earth but comes unto the most merciful Allah as a slave." This is a forced and compulsory subservience. No one is excluded from it. Allah's preordainments and decree holds over them. The second type is a specific subservience, that is the submission by will that occurs through obedience to Allah, the Exalted, and submission to Him. The slave exercises his choice. If he wills, he does it, and if he wills, he abandons it. This is the specific form of Ubaydiyah. Allah the Exalted said, "Certainly you shall have no authority over my slaves." The meaning of my slaves in the above verse are those engaged in specific Ubaydiyah, and those are the believers. The devil has no authority over them, because Allah has protected them from him, because they turned to Allah and worshipped Him. Glorious is He. This is what is meant by specific Ubaydiyah. So Allah is addressing the entire slaves, general Ubaydiyah and specific Ubaydiyah, saying, "O my servants," with this divine call, His saying, "I have restrained myself from oppression, and have made it prohibited amongst you. So do not oppress one another." Linguistically, the word zulm, oppression, means putting something in an improper place, and it is of three types. The first is oppression between the servant and his Lord, and that is by committing shirk. Allah will not forgive such. He the Exalted. Verily, joining others in worship with Allah is a great zulm, wrong indeed. Allah also said, it is those who believe in the oneness of Allah and worship none but Him alone, and confuse not their belief with zulm, wrong, by worshipping others besides Allah, that is, with shirk. Allah will not forgive this except with sincere repentance. Allah the Exalted